I do not remember what order these are supposed to be in. Kim here, and I'm here. I am back from my giant epic work vacation. I am no longer Kim there for a little while at least. Yay. While I was on my trip, I read a ton of stuff, so here I am to give you my July wrap-up. I read 6 books on my trip. All of them were not horrible. Here we go. First, I read The Martian by Andy Weir. I've seen the movie adaptation and I really liked it, and the book did not disappoint. This is a story about a guy who basically gets left on Mars when they have to abort their mission, and they thought he was dead, and they leave, and then he wakes up and he has to figure out how to not die on the, forsaken, lifeless planet. Very entertaining and really gripping. You can't put it down. Like, that is just the kind of book that this is. I feel like it did get a little too mathematical, science-y here and there with formulas and how he figured things out. I wish I was good at that stuff, but I'm not, and so that stuff just really confuses me. But you don't have to fully understand it to like the book, and that was a kind of interesting thing to me. It wasn't like I needed to understand how he got there. He just got there. That's only my really, complaint about it, and I don't even think it's a complaint. It just was a little thing that really didn't affect the reading experience. And my husband read this book, and he's an engineer, and he did not correct any of his mathematical thingies, so they're probably right. Really enjoyed it. I rated The Martian 16 out of 20 on my weird rating scale. And then I read Leven, Thumps, and the Gateway to Foo. This is the first of the Foo series. I'm not sure what the name of the series is. This is a middle grade novel about a boy who has had a really terrible life, and turns out he's from another world and he's magical. And then he has to get back there so he can save the magical land and our land. Middle grade adventure fantasy that wasn't so bad. I do feel like it kind of sort of didn't quite make it for enchantment and adventure and magic. It just didn't quite make it for me. It wasn't bad by any means. It was almost really magical and sparkly and fun, but not quite. Just didn't quite make it for magical fun for me, but I still enjoyed a lot of the characters. I'm glad I read it. I might pick up the second book if I can find it very cheaply and without too much searching. I'm not gonna go seeking for it, but if I happen to come upon it, then I'll read it. I ended up rating Leven, Thumps, and the Gateway to Foo a 14 out of 20. And then I read This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is my first Victoria/V.E. Schwab book, and I really liked it. I was surprised. I was not expecting to really just be as engrossed with the story as I was. I liked the story and the characters, and it was really great. I'm not even sure if it's YA or adult, to be completely honest with you, but it's a dystopian story about a city that's been split in two after a war. Different kind of monsters that have come about and started wreaking havoc on humanity and communities and people in general. Then you get characters that meet from opposite sides, and anyway. What's really great is it's not like a really big love story. It's not that. I really liked it. I thought it was really entertaining and a really good story and really unique. It's just its own story, and that's so refreshing these days, I feel like, to have just sort of a story that is its own, unique, and hasn't been done before. I liked her writing style, so I'll definitely be picking up Our Dark Duet, the second book in this duology. I rated This Savage Song a 17 out of 20. And then I had a reread, and it was the reread of a personal favorite that I just love so much, and that is what happened. Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have nothing bad to say about this. I have no complaints. I have no nothing. Pure, unconditional love for this book series. Really feel like I have nothing else to say other than Hobbit inherits magical ring. Must destroy it or evil will take over. Adventure, epic, fantasy, wonderfulness. I love his writing style. I love his storytelling style. I love everything. For a lot of people, Tolkien can get kind of too descriptive and too sort of flowery, but for me it totally works and I love it. It was really cool to read this now. I hadn't noticed how much my reading skill had improved until I read this. It's not an easy book to read. It's very dense and things like that, which is why a lot of people don't like it. I was able to read it easier and able to understand more and see more. Seriously, I think this is my best smelling book. It just was magic. So glad I reread this, and I fell in love with it all over again, and almost in a new way, which was kind of cool. Technically rated a 17 out of 20 because of the pacing. The first 3/4 of the book is like Hobbit journey, and then you get everybody involved. And I like it more when everybody's involved and you get everybody that's in the fellowship and things. And so just for a personal pacing reason, it didn't get like 20 out of 20. I love this book series. The end. And then I read The Wide Window, the 3rd book in the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. Terrible things happen to orphans by a guy named Count Olaf. That's the premise of the entire book series. 3 orphans trying to escape this guy trying to steal their fortune. Terrible, terrible things happen to these kids, and for whatever reason, it's very entertaining. I think it's the writing style. I think that the way this is written to say, hey, this story really sucks, but that's the way it is, kids. I think that's what makes it so great. I've been slowly reading these and I like them. Classic middle grade to like early reader. Creative and stylistic and full of really cool characters, and it just is good. It is good. Good. Series of Unfortunate Events, The Wide Window, got a 17 out of 20. Lastly, in July, I read The BFG by Roald Dahl. I've read 3 Roald Dahl books. Matilda in elementary school, so I don't really remember that much of the actual book other than I liked it. Read James and Giant Peach earlier this year. This one I liked a lot more than James and Giant Peach. This is the story of a giant, and he's friendly and nice. Big, friendly giant. He's a nice giant, and he doesn't eat people like the other giants, and this tiny little orphan girl sees him, and so he captures her because she saw him, and so he just takes her and says, sorry, you have to stay with me now. And then they become really good friends and take on these giants. Good, fun, kids literature. Like, that's what this is. It is just so classic in that innocence and simple storytelling, but fun and exciting and thought-provoking. It really makes some really cool comparisons to like humanity and how we act as human beings, which was so cool to see that in such a book for young readers. I loved that. Loved that. I scored the BFG a 16 out of 20. That's everything I read in July. Great reading month. I liked everything that I read, which is always nice, and I got to read a Lord of the Rings book, which is always a win. That's just an automatic win. Probably unhealthy how much I love that book, but I don't really care. Consider subscribing to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. It's bookish. Thanks for watching!